The technology is a device that connects the world of paper to your computer, into the digital world. And the idea is that whenever you're reading something of interest, you indicate what it is that's interesting to you, and we go and find the document that you're in and the specific lines that you're highlighting, and we copy that into your life library that keeps track of everything you've ever read in paper, and all the quotes and things that you underline and so forth. And then it goes beyond that. We actually make the paper interactive. So this application is this life library that I'm describing, and it's a list here at the top of each of the interactions I've had with a paper document. And over here, for example, it's saying which document it was, and the actual content, the line that I captured, and the date and time, and so forth. And then for any one of those individual captures, which are organized into folders, just like your file system on the computer, so you can organize all your documents into reading groups and classes at college and so forth. But for any one of these captures, as we call them, there are these various actions like send this via email to somebody, so take this excerpt from the document and forward it to someone, or search on the internet for this particular content, or print out the document, or publish the document to other people who you'd like to have see your what it is you're interacting with. So you can do like RSS feeds, or Twitter, or automatically post. In fact, one of these is to I'll show you in a moment. You can actually take anything that you capture and post it to your blog with your comments automatically. And then in this area at the bottom of the Life Library is the specific content that you're interacting with at the moment. So any one of these captures. And down the left side here is this list of possible menu items that you might want to do, and that this changes dynamically depending on what it is you've captured. And for each capture, it's customized, the various things you might want to do at that point in the document. And then this general area here is information about that location in the document. And there are 5 tabs here at the moment. So there's one here for annotating, where at that point in the document you can type in text or record audio or add video or images. And then if anybody else captures at that place in the document, then this annotation is there. You can post the capture that you've just made to your blog. You can view the document in text form with all of the different highlights where you and others have captured, highlighted. So this one here that we've got highlighted here is showing up here.
Martin, when you say the others, you and others have highlighted, so...
Yeah, so if you choose, you can use this technology in a completely private mode, so you don't have to show anybody in the world what you're reading, but if you want to, you can sort of join a much larger community that connects through the Exbiblio servers, so that basically everyone, if you want, who's using this technology can share their reading, and in particular, you can create reading groups and private groups of individuals who are reading a particular book or a set of books for a course in college, for example, and that group can then share their annotations and comments and captures and supplemental material and so forth.
Yep.
Okay. And then all of this technology is backed by a whole bunch of patents on all kinds of aspects of the hardware and the software and the various things that we're doing here. So I'll just give a couple of quick examples of sort of how it works. Here's an article from the New Yorker. And if I just randomly take a piece of text from the New Yorker, it has found and you'll see down here in the bottom, there's a little section here that indicates what document I'm in. It's a Dana Goodyear article in the New Yorker. And then it happened that I captured a phrase that has this cosmology in the line, and so it's brought up information about cosmology. There's
where does it show what you actually captured here?
So
it's right down here.
Down the bottom, and thank you very much. But both here in this top line, and also in this excerpt at the bottom. And you can view that same. You can change over here and actually see the capture that I actually made in the document context. And in fact, you can look at this tab here. This is the actual image that I captured out of the document. And then it found it and its surrounding text and so forth.
So it found it
somewhere on the web.
Well, in this case, it's not on a local machine, but it would normally find it in some combination of a local index and then Exbiblio server or index and then broader resources like Google and so forth. One of the things this enables you to do is to purchase items from paper, just the way you would purchase items from electronic media. So I see there's a reference to a book called The Alchemist being mentioned here. So if I were interested in that and I scan the word The Alchemist, then we've figured out what you captured and gotten information about The Alchemist and reviews and so forth. But what's kind of interesting is that I have these choices over here to, for example, purchase this book just by having captured it. And I have the same choices on this device. And so this is meant to work portably. And you can actually do this on, what I'm doing now, you can do with this little display on an airplane at 30,000 feet, but if you don't have a computer nearby. So if I were to click on purchase, then it would take me through to my Amazon account, and I can add The Alchemist to the shopping cart and check out, and I've purchased The Alchemist. It's that easy.
So, Martin, if you were to be disconnected and scanned that,
Yep.
and then selected purchase on the key,
Yeah. On this device here, what I like about it.
how would the purchase occur?
So it queues up all of the different captures and the choices that I've made and saves them on the key. And then when I come back and synchronize, either with the Bluetooth wireless, which we don't have yet, or with the USB connector, then those captures would populate, and the ones that had sort of pending actions would, if I had specified it in my preferences, they would ask me to confirm. But if I had set the preferences just go out, if I said buy, then it would just literally, at the time that it synchronizes, it would put those through to Amazon and make those purchases.
Or something that some other company that you...
Whatever you decided to work with. And there's we have a one button here, literally sort of a one-click purchase that and which again is available here as well. So
Amazon has that.
sorry, yeah, yes, but not from paper, interestingly. So another sort of example of how to use the technology is we can, and we're not really focused on advertising, but we can show you related advertising or content that's just proximate to or related to wherever you capture in a document. So if I capture down the right edge of this column here, we've programmed this to show these ads in a richer form depending on wherever I capture. So this now is a richer version of this advertisement and electronic I can purchase and contact the company and so forth. And someplace later in the page, I get a different ad and so forth. So it can show appropriate content for whichever of the, wherever you are in a document. So,
Martin, I didn't see what you scanned. Did you scan the ad or did you scan
The text.
I would scan the text, but I could have scanned the ad, and I could have gotten the same response either way, although the system would distinguish, and it can be quite customized. If you scan the ad, it may give you slightly different behaviors than.
How did it know that you wanted, so it didn't show you this text that you scanned, it just showed you the ad?
Well, it does also show you the text and the capture, but if there's no other content, or if you sort of set preferences that I want to see advertising, then it would show you the ads. And this is some combination of the author and the editor and the publisher and other users deciding what these behaviors are. And then you as a user ultimately have complete control over your privacy and over what content you want to see.
At a minimum, you would see the article.
Right, yeah.
Yeah,
At a
exactly.
maximum, you would see purchasing options as well as other related articles and other content.
So here's we're going to change context here. Here's a children's book. And
What fun. What
so it's
excitement.
able to be quite interactive. Or I can just take a single word, raspberry. And I'm not sure what other.
Excitement.
So it can help you sort of spell and learn to read.
Father Bunny.
And we have
10 bottles.
new technology we're experimenting with where there's no index or prior knowledge about content, and you purchase a book, any book, and you go through it as for example, as a parent, and capture individual words or phrases and then either record audio or create pictures in this window. And then if someone else, a child, comes and captures those words or that content, then they get that experience. And that's just with no supporting index or knowledge of the book or anything. It's just based on you first capture and establish a phrase or an image that you want to associate content with. And it's a really kind of a simple model that we think is kind of fun and interesting. The technology has the ability to, I mean, this index that we're using here is only a few million characters, but it has the ability to very quickly recognize just sort of any context. So there it's found Pride and Prejudice, and here I'm in an animal farm, and I can go back to Pride and Prejudice, and just any little bit of text is enough for it to tell where you are. And this is not, this would work just as well on the 8 billion documents in Google, because for that plot over there, it actually turns out that it only has a very small amount of text to identify where you are, even in billions of documents. And there's a reader service card. If you just capture some part of the reader service card, it can bring up the card filled out with your personal information, any form whatsoever, and then submit it for you. And
wait a minute, show me that one more time.
so I just captured any part of this. I just happen in this case, it doesn't matter what part. What we've done is we've taken all the text of this card and we have mapped it to a piece of program that fills out the form for you and at sort of one click submits it. So
You got your information elsewhere as to who you are and what you're
which is stored in your life library, and with your permission, we're going to fill out this form. And if you notice it's got now the button here has changed. It says subscribe, and if I were to click that button, it would literally subscribe me to Business Week and arrange for the payment. So that's you can do that with any form whatsoever. And then one of our fun, most of you have seen this, but this is Romeo and Juliet. And here it says, have not saints lips.
I like this one.
Or saints do not move. Or madam, your mother craves a word.
Your mother craves a word with you.
And so forth. So
Of
you
course, you
can,
have an arrangement there with that content, where you could purchase that content.
oh yeah, so we've got this idea of shrink wrapping the book and the video, and they're synchronized together. You could do this with children's literature, you could do this with adult content. It's and actually, as an individual, you can create this content. You don't necessarily need the publisher to do it for you. So those are some of the examples. We could go on, but that's basically what the technology is about. But in essence, everything you read in paper is copied into your digital life and shareable, and you can search and get back to it in the future. And we have revenues associated with purchasing from anything in paper. Those purchases come through Exbiblio, so we, by definition, participate financially in some part of those revenues. And we make advertising interactive and dynamic, and actionable in the moment. You can purchase from any advertisement you see, and if you see a phone number and scan it, one of the choices on the screen is dial the number for me, and if it's an address, we can get a map. And so it really takes paper and does essentially everything you do for the web experience, we do for the paper experience. And not quite, but almost everything.
Yeah, that sounds really good.